time. No music now for this session because it is almost 8 o'clock, 1 minute to go. And we're just getting ready for those who haven't joined in yet to go join in. I'm just going live on Facebook as well to make sure that is up and running. One thing for me is if you can't hear us, please let me know. Otherwise, if you can, just say hi. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Char. Hi, Minne. Yes, okay. So let's quickly look. I'm going to put you in the middle of expand video. Dazay, I love. Okay, there's Dr. Bill tonight. Doctor, I'm just waiting for people to join, Doctor. We still have a few minutes.
Hi, Sonia from Durban nogal.
Yeah. Excited part 3. Yeah, you loud and clear. She's actually excited to be here, Doc.
Yeah.
Okay, so
she was also the first person to submit her project and got the prize. So well done, Sonia.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Sonia, for taking action. Hi, Bill. Nice to hear. Chart says, where's his prize? He hasn't won his prize yet, Bill.
No, Chart, you came in late, Buddha. You came in late.
Chart, if you want to be a world champ, you need to be first, buddy. Sonia, stressful time of technology. Sonia, definitely. That's why I learned you need to have a team and people willing to jump in. You know, call on someone and they're willing to jump in. At least I know Graham. He's one of our speakers. So thank you to Graham for joining in. And thank you for Donnie and everyone that is here tonight, ready to listen. Technology is amazing when it works, and when it doesn't, it's very easy. You get frustrated, but at least I have a team. You know, how can you not have a team? I think that is one lesson that I've learned from climbing a mountain like Kilimanjaro is the importance of having the right team. Okay. Alan says, you snooze, you lose. Greetings. Yes, everyone is typing. Okay. So it's 8:01, everyone, and it's the last session for tonight. I'm looking forward for you to introduce you to Dr. Bill. For those who don't know Dr. Bill, Dr. Bill is a master global executive coach. He's a strategist, a master neuroscience practitioner. He's a national moderator for Comenza. He's part of the professional body and SA member of the Institute of Neuroscience. He's the member of the Association of Global Executive Corporate Coach and Mentors. Tonight's talk is about how to hack your brain to help you function from peak performance, shift away from default mode to autopilot mode for living a life powerful, focused, totally aware, full of life, and fully you in the moment, magnetized by your compelling future. Enhance your brain capacity to help you live a life well lived. And I'm looking forward to this talk tonight, a brain hacking coaching process, a step-by-step practical plan to live in your focus zone. A talk by Dr. Bill Price. Doctor, take it away.
Thank you so much, Clovis, and hi, everyone. Thank you for your faithfulness and thank you for your encouragement. That always makes it easier and better for me on this side. And this little bump here on my forehead, I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and it was very dark, and I decided I wanted to go to the bathroom and opened up a cupboard and walked into a cupboard instead of going into the bathroom. So my visual and my spatial part of my brain wasn't working too well. So it's good to have you here, and I'm going to give you a very practical process tonight on how to hack the brain. So may I begin by saying, in this lockdown period, I really believe after all the pain that we're going through, and there's no gain, all I can say is, what a shame. Through all the pain and no gain, what a shame. And the sad thing is that there are so many people who are going to go through this whole process, and we will come out of it. Nothing lasts forever. And when we come out of it, if you are still the same person, if you're still doing the same things the same way, if you're still thinking the same thoughts that you were thinking, then that, all I can say is, it's an absolute shame. You missed another 100 days, or how many ever days we've had. You've missed an amazing opportunity each and every single day. So let's go back and just have a look at how the brain pays attention to things. So nothing in our life happens without the brain turning it into energy and then storing it in various forms of energy in terms of long-term and short-term memory in our subconscious mind and in our conscious mind. So when we look at the brain, at how the brain creates a program. So here you've got a neuron, and you've got these little synapses that comes out, and they join over there to another one. They join like that. They actually don't join. There's a space between them, and it's critical that we remember that the spacing between those, so that little space there, the moment you drink carbon dioxide or you drink sugar, the electrical flow that flows from the cell, the neuron, flows from there. It has to jump across. So carbon dioxide, water, anything with carbon dioxide in it, any fruit juice with carbon dioxide in it, or sugar, slows down the jump. So you have a slowing of the jump over there. So let's say, and if you want to know how many of these you've got, you have got 10 to the power of 26 noughts. And that's how many that they are predicting, and they're telling us that's how many cells that are within the human brain. And then, of course, in the gut, they say there's more that are within the gut. So let's look at a particular program. So you've got, call it whatever process you've got. Say it's either happiness or fear. So it starts firing somewhere. So the energy comes from there. It goes into here, and in here you've got both positive and negative. And then the energy comes in here, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. It's almost like you want to sneeze. So just, and then you get the sneeze, and that energy that comes in from there then will go maybe out that way and maybe out that way. It then jumps, and then it goes into there, and that goes into there, and then it goes in there, and then it goes another jump, and that goes into there, and then it goes into here, comes into here, and goes into there. And say, let's call this program fear, or joy, or happiness, or sadness, or whatever it is. So the moment your brain has learnt 3 seconds, so anything that the brain has learnt for 3 seconds, it does what is called myelinate. So in other words, the brain says, okay, so we're doing this program. This is what you're doing. You're doing fear, love, joy, peace, whatever it is. And for the first 3 seconds, it gets a feel of where this process goes. And remember that in this energy, so we said that we are created with energy and matter. So in this world here, we have electrical energy, we have electromagnetic energy, we have electric energy that is now flowing through these. So if you take one of those pipes that looks like a bicycle tube, that looks like that, and you cut it, and the flow is in here, both plus and minus. So the flow of energy is in here. But remember, when we were created, we had ruach blown into us. Now, ruach is intelligence. So it's not cognitive intelligence. It doesn't have the ability to say, this is a door, that's a window, this is a chair, these are books, this is a desk, this is a screen. It has energy of knowing, just knowing that it knows. So that kind of intelligence is within the entire universe, built into the waves, into the sea, into the sunshine, into the universe, into the planets, into how long and far they must keep away from each other. And it's an absolute miracle how Ruach is keeping everything aligned and in tune. So now, the moment I have the second time that I experience the same experience, so the same thought pattern happens going through there, that same thought pattern that happens there, the brain says, oh, okay, so you're doing it a second time. So doing it a second time, we need to preserve energy. So what the brain then does, it myelonates. So it takes a fatty tissue and it like puts a fatty tissue around that. And so for the second time, it myelonates it and it puts fatty tissue around it. And the reason why it's putting fatty tissue around it is to conserve the energy. The energy must not escape. It mustn't be able to jump from there to there. That's when you have brain problems, is when you have the synapses leak, where you have energy flowing and it should come out over here at the end. So it's like a half moon over there. So there's like a half moon and there's like a half moon, and then the energy jumps from one to the other. So once it's myelonated, the brain goes, okay, so that's the set program. That's why you can be angry like at a flick of a finger. A trigger switches it, this recognizes it, and whoops, the program jumps and it's on. You cannot stop it. It's zoom, there it is. So you can stop it after the fact. But the moment the program is there, the program is set. So in terms of our youth years, from birth to 7 to 13 years of age, the Roman Catholic Church tells the people that if you give us a child up until 7 to 13, or from birth till 13 years of age, we will have created the man or the woman for you. So all of these things are set. So this is your culture, it's built in here. Your spirituality is built in here. So inside this circle over here, so as we look at that energy, this is now a system. If you think yesterday's thought, if you plan yesterday's to-do list, if you're planning tomorrow based on today's thinking, there is no new myelonation. There's no new neural network that forms. So if we're going to try and break this pattern of thinking, we are going to have to recreate another different pattern of thinking. So if we say, this is fear, and we're going, okay, so the way we now need to think, I've got to stop the brain within that period to there. So I've got that span that I must stop the brain from continuing. So that is a choice that I can make. I can stop it and go, whoa, and you can literally do it through two ways. You can say the word stop, or you can take a deep breath. So you breathe in, and as you breathe in, somehow a breath interrupts this process, going, okay, what's the breath coming out for? You never breathed before, and now a breath is happening. So you can hack the brain through, you have to do it through cognitive consciousness, and you have to do it through breathing. Those are two ways in which you then hack the brain. Or you hacking simply means I hack into the system and I divert it. So I can now create a different program and say, no, I don't want to feel fear this way. I want to think about fear this way. So I'd rather want to think of it like that, and then it goes back, and I'd like to think of it going there, and I'd like to think of fear going there, and going there. So in working with people with trauma, so if the red line is the trauma, and that's been stored in a particular way, so through your 8 brain languages, which is see, feel, hear, smell, taste, movement, and kinesthetic, the brain has stored a certain story in a particular way. Then this storeway is then emptied of that energy, and that energy by the subconscious and the conscious mind and unconscious mind is then stored in memory. So the moment there's a trigger, memory shoots back up here, ignites the plan, and whoops, immediately within a nanosecond, this plan is already happening. So we are a brain that fires together, wires together. So we can wire a new way of thinking. With neuroscience, we have the capacity to take a person who's gone through trauma, where normal counseling will take something between 6 months to 18 months to work through. Neuroscience counseling can take anything up to between 4 and 6 sessions, and you can measure it. The trauma is gone. So we were walking with a friend of mine, and his phone rings, and he answers the phone. And he's also a neuroscience person, and a friend of him. I literally hear on his cell phone this guy screaming and shouting, and he says to him, Graham, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he hears the story that Graham's been bitten by a rabid dog, and he's on his way to hospital to have an injection. But he has an absolute phobia for needles, to the point that when he has been put under anesthetic by means of gas, so you can't inject stuff into him, when he's put under anesthetic by gas, his consciousness is so awake that when they put the needle in the arm, the muscle tenses and bends the needle. So he's frantic. He's going, there's no ways I can do this. So my friend Armand says to him, okay, let me help you. And within about 25 minutes, we're busy sitting down by now. And within 25 minutes, he helps him to rearrange this phobia program, this whole phobia program of, I can't handle needles, they bend in my arm, and it's horrific for me, in 25 minutes. And he says, phone me back after you've been at the hospital. And yeah, it wasn't long after that, the phone rings again, and I hear on the phone laughter. So he's got the speaker on, and this man is going uncontrollably laughter. And he says, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I just cannot believe it. He said, that 25 minutes, I walked in there. I saw all the triggers that you told me I must look at, the hospital smell, the dishes. When I saw the syringe, that was another trigger for me. And Armand got him to change the syringe into something else. He took his reality and just turned different things in that reality into different objects. So the syringe became something that was made out of pink sponge, and it in his mind. And he recreated a new way of thinking to the point that he could have the injection and to date, the phobia has gone. So when we look at the brain, it has immense capacity to be able to store and to make it very real. So when I feel this energy here goes everywhere. This energy here goes, this is the nervous system. It also goes into the blood system. It goes into my heart. It changes my heart rate. It goes into the circulation system. It changes my breathing rate. The energy in my mouth. Remember, there's an energy center in my mouth, another energy center here in my thyroid, energy center over my heart, energy center over the diaphragm, energy center here at the upper gut, energy center below the belly button, energy center in the pubic area, and on the forehead and on the top of the head. So that's where a whole lot of collection of neurons. So you've got a whole cluster of these neurons that make up an exchange, and that's where you have energy centers. So the people that study yoga, they call it the chakras, and the chakras are literal, they're real, you can measure them. We've photographed them, you can measure the activity of energy that takes place there. So inside, so if we now had to go, we understand how the message of the brain is now formulated, so that becomes a program, and a whole lot of these in collection on left and right brain hemisphere that fire at the same time, that becomes my personality. It becomes my denied self. It becomes my hidden self. It becomes my projected self, it becomes my false self, or the 6 selves that we learned about how we create our personality through the reality of life, and that becomes temperament and personality. So now if I take that little tube like that, and I say this is the tube, so that's the tube in there. And inside here are logical levels of intelligence. So those of you who've studied NLP will go, okay, so here we have the environment, and in the environment we've got context. So context is always who, what, when, where, and how. Okay, it's never why. So we find out why when we answer those questions. But in here, so for behavior to pop out, so that part there is behavior. No behavior that pops out here pops out without the brain knowing about it. So at no time can any of us say to our partners, our spouses, our children, we've just shared something terrible with them. We've shared, we vomited on them. We projected on them. We did all sorts of crazy stuff with them with our words, the power of words. And we watch how the words impact the person, because there's life and death in the power of words. So I just dumped on a person. And once I've dumped on that person, it's in like a moment of anger, a moment of, and we say these words, I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said. Impossible. It's impossible for that to happen. The brain chose every single word that you said. It chose it. Every single word. It chose the tone of voice. It chose the volume. It chose the way your body language was going to stand, how you were going to project it. It chose the way you were going to look. It chose the way of how you were going to be emotive. And that behavior that comes out there is not inexcusable. So if you're a husband and you are have a partner, and you're a wife and you've got a partner, then may I say this to you. In your next fight that you're going to have, and you blurt out horrible things, yes, net soos jou ma, yes, whatever, horrible, ugly words, you can't retract them. But consciously, you can say, okay, well, stop, time out. First of all, I want to say sorry for what I've just said, but I want to qualify. I'm sorry for what I just said, and I'm going to take some time to find out what the reason was why I said what I said. What was behind the story of what I said? What was behind my outburst? What was behind my folding my arms and getting all rough, defensive mode? Where did that come from? Because and the story is here. The story is in this triangle over here. So remember, that's a synapsis. So that we've taken the rubber tube, there's the tube over there, and we've now made it that it's looking this way, and we're going, okay, fine. So in neuroscience and NLP, we've discovered that there are a few important things that we find here. So immediately over here, right here, at this surface over here, we've got what is known as the convincing area. So this is where you have a debate, a final debate. So this is called your convincing strategy, where Parliament sits and we all sit together, and once the decision is made, then the behavior pops out. So that's what scares me about motivational speakers who say, just make a decision. If you want to change your work, just make a decision. But there's all of this that helps to create that decision. And folks, that's why affirmations do not work. Because if I make an affirmation over here, and I have a contradiction anywhere here, my body, my brain is clever enough to go, nah, you don't really believe that, so we're not going to work with you. So in your physical body, your 11 systems, if you're going, in every way, I'm getting better and better and better. And in one of your body systems, which is either your circulation system or your blood system or your renal system, and there's a misalignment within that system, the intelligence of that system tells the brain, as it says those words, in every way I'm getting better and better, it says, excuse me, what did I hear you say? You say, I'm getting better. Tra-la-la, look at me. I'm not better. And it cancels the affirmation. And tonight I'm going to show you how to do a brain affirmation. An affirmation that's very powerful and even more powerful than what the motivational speakers are telling us about what an affirmation is. Because all of the stuff in here is the build-up to the affirmation that comes in there. So underneath this, we have, over here is what we call our mindset. Now, our mindset is our attitude, and our attitude is the lazy way of thinking. So if you want to quickly check out what's an attitude, I will say a few words, and your first response, that's that. So you don't even think about it. The response is there, and your brain actually believes it. So let me mention a few words. Smelly feet, snoring, combi taxis, traffic, impatient driver, cold weather. Whatever your next thought was, it was an automatic mindset attitude. There it goes. Boom. Einde van die story. And it is like an excuse in the brain. Believable. So every excuse that we ever use, can't believe it. I go and train in an insurance company, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the insurance company because just now you'll have friends that used to be in Southern Life. And so we're training 24 of their managers on how to be coaches. And they especially asked us to train on problem solving and creativity. So we coach them and train them on problem solving. 24 managers go into 24 departments, and they come back next week and they give feedback. And they said, the one guy gets up and he says, well, you know what, we are in the collections department, and two of my people came up with a creative idea. And they checked if we change the formula and we shift the date by 1 day there and move it 1 day there, we save the company, just in that one decision, we save the company 1.4 million rand every month. And at the end, when we were finished training, and we said to them, we said to the senior managers, here's all the results, and we had 24 results, of which, and it added up to millions that the company was being saved. The senior management decided, no, we're not going on with a training program for coaching in our company because of the time. It's a believable excuse. It becomes as strong as truth itself and becomes as strong as reality itself. And that is the power of a mindset. Your excuses lie here. And the only thing that we need to be paying attention to, so the first thing that we've got to do if we're going to learn how to hack the brain is the first thing is we have to become aware. Another word for that is I've got to become conscious. I've got to be ek moet wakker skrik. I've got to be aware of what's going on in my life. I've got to be aware of what's going on in my body, and I've got to be aware of what's going on in my brain. Now, the brain, everything that happens in this triangle here is an energy surge. So you'll pick it up somewhere in your body. But because we are unaware, because people are out of touch, they live in pilot mode, autopilot. I've set the course and the airplane is going to fly and the pilot can fold his arms, he can have lunch, he can fall asleep, he can do what he likes. They can play poker, rummy, and the airplane is just going to fly, and the computer will keep it going and make sure it's level and all of that jazz. And we live by default. The only reason why people in COVID now are changing is because there's been a disruption in the force, and where there is pain or there is not normal, then suddenly we wake up. Suddenly a person is sick, they discover they got cancer, now they become spiritual and want to find God. Now their marriage is on the rocks and now they want to go for counseling. But I can guarantee you this, when the pain stops, when the challenge stops, when the threat withdraws, we automatically, the brain automatically resets to, let's go back to the way that we used to do it before. Unless we have cognitively made a new program like I showed you on the previous page. So there you have your mindset and your attitude. Then over here are our thoughts. And our thoughts, we have when you cluster them, and then the brain ties them in a little ribbon, that's called a belief system. And the interesting thing is you do not go any further than the ceiling of your belief system. What you believe is right. If you say to yourself, I can't, you're right, you won't. If you say to yourself, I'll never, the brain says, fine, I accept it, you're right, you will never. If you say, I won't be able to jump off this building, then you're not going to jump off the building. If you say, I can't drive or I can't play chess or whatever, except for me when I said I don't understand maths, even to today, I'm going, that's a belief system that I've tried quite a few times to work with. And but I've now got other people that in my team that do the mathematics for me. So my thoughts have got the power either for the power of good, and I can change DNA. I can literally change DNA with the power of my thoughts, and that's called epigenetics. And then there is, and I'd like to put it in like a spiral, a vortex, which are thoughts that are not good, but are thoughts that create chaos. So in our thinking, there is not good and bad. That's a dualistic way of thinking. You've got to get rid of dualistic thinking if you're going to hack your brain. You've got to go, there is good and there's chaos. And chaos is exactly what it is. Don't try and give it another word. Going, it's a challenge, and I don't want to call it what it is. If you call it what it is, the brain knows what to do with it and knows where it is. Call it chaos. Don't go, no, it's not. It's not. I've got a charismatic friend, had a few of them, got rid of most of them. And so he comes into the house way back before COVID, and he talks to me. He says, hello, Bill, how are you? And I can see him. It's not loop by Fakoa. I'm going, yes, Jean, you've got a cold. He says, no, I don't have a cold. I don't have a cold. Well, I'm going, well, you sound like you've got a cold. He says, no, I don't have a cold. I said, what have you got? He said, no, I've only got the symptoms. I'm going, weet jou maar dat jy so dink. So if you say you've got the symptoms, if you've got the symptoms, then you've got it. It's as simple as that. That's it. So, and your thoughts either create epigenetics or create chaos in terms of epigenetics. So you can either build things up or you can break things down in your genesis of your being and in your DNA and in your genetics. Then we have over here our values. Very, very interesting little thing, this. So if you want to live a motivated life, if you want to live a passionate life, discover what are your values. Now, your values are those things that you do with automatic energy. So if I look at my values, one of the values is me. So I look after myself. It's important that I look after myself. Then part of my values is also my spirituality, and it's broader than a building and broader than a candle and broader than a book. And then there is another value within me that is people and people potential. There's a value that's within me is the ability for my voice to be heard, for my message to be heard. And Kobus is on board with me to be able to help me to go, Doc, your message needs to get out there. And I'm and saam met jou, pal. You're going to guide me and coach me. So Kobus has now been appointed as my coach to be able to help me with that particular area. So the moment you live contrary to your values, that's when you have the greatest chaos inside your life. So a value is what's important to me, and a value is why I do anything. If you look at the car that you bought, why did you buy your car? So I'm asking a why question, shouldn't ask you. What were the reasons that you bought your car? Just think about it for a moment. Now, people go on selling courses and they tell you people buy because they need. I'm going, no, the brain doesn't buy because it needs. The brain buys because it sees value. So why did I buy the Kia Cerato that I bought? Beforehand, I had a Mercedes-Benz. Before that, I had a Hyundai. Before that, my very first car was a Volkswagen Beetle. No, my very first car was a Zephyr, a gray Zephyr that when you wiped it, you could see the orange undercoat. Bought it for 57 Rand nogal. And so my values, I bought my car because of economy. I bought my car because it could take me from Johannesburg to Durban, and I could travel around in Durban for 3 or 4 days. I had a boot big enough to put the family and the grandchildren's cases in there. And so if the salesman tried to sell me and go, man, this has got 1600 horsepower, I'm going, that's wonderful. Show me where they are. Where are the horses? Because I don't understand it. They say it gives you 6.7 to the liter. I'm going, my brain doesn't measure that. Nobody's brain measures that. You don't ride down the road and go, okay, that was 6.7. Here's another 6.7. Here's another 6.7. There's a liter gone. There's another one. It doesn't do that. You're going, no, this full tank takes you to Durban and back. Understandable. So that's if you're going to sell, that's how you must sell. Sell to the brain in pictures so that it can understand. Big picture process details. Sell to the brain that way. And sell it to yourself that way. So the secret in hacking my brain, the major secret of me understanding why I want to hack my brain lies here. And this is my motivation for hacking my brain. So why did I learn about Hebraic meditation after I fell off the roof? And by the way, it was 3.8 meters. I came back from hospital and my son says to me, Dad, go onto the website. And there's a site called splat.com, splat.com. And I typed in my weight. I typed in 3.8 meters and I said, calculate. And I discovered that I fell off the roof. By the time I left the roof and landed on the ground, it was 0.97 of a second. I reached the ground at a speed of 28 kilometers an hour. I created 3,687 joules of energy. I was not good at science, so I said to my son, what on earth is 3,600 joules? And they said, Pa, dis seer. And he used the F word. So, but then I also believe that if there's a butterfly that falls to the ground here in Africa, there's a tornado that happens in Iceland. So somewhere in the world there was a tidal wave because I say it lightly, I fell on the ground. Ek het gemoer op die grond. So now the values that we live by are the values that are critical to us. When you go to a restaurant and you order from the menu, where you're ordering from, your values. If you go and buy a car, where are you ordering from? Your values. If you're buying equipment, not buying with the brain, you're buying with what's important. Okay, no, I want that product instead of that one because I don't want to go cheap on that one. So my value system determines and gives me guidelines, and my value system is like a room that's got holes in it, brick walls with holes in it, and everything from here to here goes through my values. It goes through the big system of my values. Then in this circle here, in this synapses, that's why it's intelligent, I've got self-identities. Please notice it's identities. So my self-identities is we tend to, in whatever happens out here in the environment, if I fail here, then what we tend to do with our mindset is turn that experience into an identity. I failed, therefore I'm a failure. I divorced, therefore I'm a divorcee. Someone died in my family, therefore I'm a widower or a widow. I can't, therefore this is my identity. I achieved here, now only am I achiever. So this self-identity is like I've got many sides to the diamond. And then lastly over here is where we have meaning and spirituality. And this is purpose. Purpose in my life. So now if we take this, and we're going to come to an understanding of this. Now, I want you to keep this in mind on the next page that I'm going on. So let's take that over there, and we keep that. But remember, I said that you've got your conscious mind, then you've got your subconscious mind, and then you've got your unconscious mind. And remember, there was the in tray that goes in there. There's my in tray. And the unconscious and the subconscious pop stuff in there for me to deal with. But over here is where I have my creative conscious mind. Now, my creative conscious mind, and then you'll remember we spoke about our inner being, which is this little middle circle over here, is my essence. And the essence is where I have sweet and wonderful desire. Nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. In my essence is where I am unique. In my essence is where I'm already chosen. In my essence is where I'm already abundant. In my essence is where I am already have capacity for love, self-love, self-control. The fruit is all in here, in my spirituality, in my spirit being, in my essence. Remember, the soul, on the outside of this, the soul also always wants to have accidental happiness. It must just happen by accident. We don't work it out. I deserve it. It has to come. But here, I believe I am valuable. Now, folks, you can confess and you can affirm with every affirmation that you've got in the book. If you do not have this essence part of you sorted out, in other words, you do not believe you're valuable, you do not believe intrinsically that you're worth, you do not believe that you are loved, you do not give yourself self-love, you do not have inner joy, you do not have bliss when you and your Creator are simply together in communion with, and you are in communion with your world. If that is not sorted out, nothing will be attracted into your life. And I don't care how many books on the power and the secret of attraction you read, if this inner being of you here, if you're not settled into that identity, that's who I am. I'm in union with, I'm like the proton, neutron, and electron. There's this movement and the dance between my Creator and I. In here, if I don't get that right, I can never hack anything in my life. It's very difficult. So how do I hack things? The first thing that I hack is when in here is I need to become aware. and there needs to be a trigger, and then somewhere there is an energy force. So there's an energy force somewhere in my body that I feel it. And depending on where it is, will tell me what kind. Is it a positive energy, a strong energy, or is it a chaotic energy? So chaotic energy is depressing. It's got low energy to it. High energy is in the upper regions of our body, and the high energy is always the signal that that's good, that's joyous, that's bliss. So if my triggers are, I pick it up on my energy. I hack my brain based on the trigger of energy, based on the circumstance, which I cognitively pay attention to. I then question it, and in questioning, I take a deep breath when I'm aware of this. So the moment I'm aware of that, I take a deep breath through the nose, intentional. And breathe out. Take a deep breath with me. And then I intentionally step here into the creative consciousness, and I take a breath from here. So here I take my second breath, and now I look into this story here because I want to question it. And the moment I question it, here I am not analyzing. Here's where I analyze. So the moment you find yourself analyzing stuff, the moment you find yourself synthesizing, analyzing, criticizing, placing judgment, you need to know you're creating chaos. And you must hack the chaos. You've got to take a deep breath and go, whoa, hold on a minute. I'm into criticism. Where did this come from? I'm into judgment. How come I'm judging this person, for goodness sake? Let me just take a deep breath. Get into the creative consciousness, look at that person and go, you know what? No matter who they are created in the image of God. So let me just breathe in. And look at that person, go, there's a person with the image of God, there's another person with the image of God. Every single person that's ever been born has been created in the image of God. There's no gemors. It's all been good. Now I go into my creative energy. So I now create the future. So I now come and I go, this is what I don't want. But I do want what I want in the future. So what do I want in the future? In the future, I want, and you must be very clear because and you can write this down. To the brain, clarity is power. I want to be happy, Bill. I want to be more rich than I am right now. If I had to give you a rand, that's more than what you had. It's more than what you've got right now. 1 rand. Would you be happy with that? No. I want more. How much is more? So every time you say, I want to be happy, I want more, the brain says, I'd love you to be happy, but please tell me what happy feels like. Tell me what happy looks like. If I could just have a more satisfied life, could you please describe that? In coaching, we'll say, unpack that for me. So we unpack that. And I use creative consciousness to create a new future. And I'm going, no. I am putting self-control into operation. I'm going, my future is not that. My future is this. But there's a difference between creating a creative future and creating fantasy. Fantasy is based on your needs and wants. Lower level of Maslow's triangle of needs. Lower level. Needs and wants is fantasy. I need a new car. I need a new house. I need a new neighborhood. I need a new this. I need this. I want this. I want that. I want that. Take a deep breath and go, hold on. What do I desire above that? What do I desire above that? And desires are always big chunk stuff. They're not small stuff, but they're big chunk stuff that are small things in our life that if I have that, if I have joy, it's small enough to impact the rest of my life. If I have inner confidence in who I am in my essence, if I'm centered in who I am in my essence, it's more than all the cars in the world and all the millions in the bank. But only millions stop you. So I go creative consciousness over here. So let me close, and then we're going to do a meditation as promised. Where would I suggest as a neuroscience that we do affirmation? So we can either do it at this level, at creative level, and go, you know what? In every way, I am going to get better. But I go into the future and I picture what my back looks like when I'm healed. So when I was lying in bed and walking 3 steps and nearly fainting for 2 years and drinking handfuls of pain pills, I said to myself, what's the picture I have when I'm healed? I'm walking straight, I'm bending, I'm being able to pick up weights, I can do deadlifts in the gym, I can swim, I can jog, I can run. And it was a magic moment for me when I went on my first park run and jogged half the park run, nearly 2 kilometers, and then started feeling pain, and it was my first run. So I said to myself, hey, body, not bad, eh? In 2 years, you haven't jogged, you haven't run. And now look what you're doing. Jy's bloody oulik. And so you must have a picture. It's got to be visually clear, feeling clear, thoughts clear, identity clear. Who am I there? What do I look like? So I have a picture of a person that I found that's a model to me of what my body must look like. So every morning when I do the exercises, put the 2 chairs down, and I'm doing my 50 press-ups, started with 10, now doing 50 press-ups on the chair. I'm doing 50 leg pushes. I'm doing crunches, hunches, all the kind of stuff in my home. And I'm saving a lot of money, no longer going to Virgin Active, and discovering I don't need them. I can do everything here. So that, what switches on in my brain when I'm doing a crunch is I see that guy's muscles in his stomach, and I'm going, brain, just get my body aligned to that guy's muscle structure in his stomach. And I just breathe it in with color. And I only start exercising when I feel the pain, and I go and I only start counting when I feel the burn. Then I start counting 1 to 50. And it's amazing what happens to the body. I'm not taking my shirt off because it's a bloody coat. So, but I'm not where I was, that I can tell you. But I'm on my way to the picture, physically. Where am I spiritually? There's a very clear picture there. Where am I mentally? A very clear picture. I've never stopped studying since I left school. Very clear picture. So I can create an affirmation that says, I am working on my health, and no matter at what rate and what pace, I will not give up. I will work at it. And when I give up, I will not be hard at myself with criticism and judgment. I will say to myself, it's okay, môre is nog 'n dag. That's an affirmation that the brain understands, going, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And then when you don't, you go into judgment and you go into criticism. So, and then there's another marvelous way that I'm learning is here in the unconscious and subconscious. So it's, you give the unconscious a statement. So I've created a life statement that tells my conscious and my subconscious and unconscious what kind of a life I'm going to be living in the next 20 years, which I've now called my 20-year march. And I read that off every single day. It's written in the positive, in the affirmative, and it's written like it's happening, and it's written in line with my value system, in line with my identity, and stretching me a little bit in line of what I believe. So I'm stretching some of the beliefs and going, yeah, I've got to learn some new things. So in my unconscious and subconscious, I've implanted some marvelous statements. I'm going, and here's the statements, and I read in every area of my life, my mental, my financial, my being, my spiritual, and this is what a statement will sound like. Isn't it amazing how God and the universe are working together without my total and full cooperation and just creating abundance for me? Isn't it amazing how abundance seems to be attracted to me? Today I wrote a proposal of something that came in on the email, and it was like, this is for you. This is it. This is abundance showing up. So I work unconsciously and subconsciously with statements that I plow them in and I speak them out every single day. So I read my vision every day and I read my subconscious and unconscious statements about how it's marvelous how God is smiling on me every day. It's marvelous how people are finding me every day. It's marvelous how businesses and CEOs are starting to ask questions about executive coaching, etc. Isn't it amazing that this is happening and that's happening, and invitations roll in and things happen without me even having to do too much marketing around that? But although it doesn't mean I don't do marketing. So I'd like to invite you into a meditation. You don't wake up in the morning or you don't get out of bed until you've done a morning meditation. So I'd like you to sit back in your chair and relax. And I'm going to take you through an 8-minute presentation that you can do. So we're going to do a little bit of Vim Hof breathing. And this you will find, so you start breathing and you breathe and you pull the stomach, the muscles in around the pubic area. You tighten there. So as you sit, track net in, that you can feel that part. Only that part gets pulled in, you breathe. And then you pull the muscles in the lower abdomen, pull that tight, pull it in towards your spine, pull it in, take the second breath, and let go, and then pull your stomach in, and breathe out. Then you take your diaphragm, breathe there, breathe out, over your heart, breathe out, here at your throat, breathe out, breathe into here, from your nose into your forehead. Feel the air going through your nose here. You'll feel the air coming in your head. Breathe in and breathe out. Now you go past there to the crown and blow it out there. Go breathe in and out. Now we're going to do it 6 times, and it's going to be, we're going to do it like one. So you begin dadelik and you pull in, breathing up to there, and then breathe out through the mouth. Okay, let's do it 6 times. Remember, each one is a pull. So as my hand goes, that's where you breathe. And breathe in deeply through the nose. Hold it, and breathe out. Breathe in. Feel it in the physical. Breathe out. You're breathing through your energy centers. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Close your eyes and feel what difference it is. Breathe in, all the way up, hold it. Breathe out, relax. Breathe in, breathe out. In the meditation, you must breathe for about 25 to 30 times that way. Breathe in and out, breathe in and out. Now we're going to breathe in deeply. And hold for 20 seconds. Breathe in. And breathe out. Just feel what that feels like. That's called letting go. And that is one of the levels of consciousness that we need to learn, that when we face this stuff here, which we call reality, if you can go and just breathe like that and let go and go to that place that you felt right now in your body, going, you know what, just going to let it go. Well, my budget, just let go. Let me just let go of that. Because it's in holding on that I create chaos in my emotions. I must let go. As you close your eyes, or you keep your eyes opened and focus on a spot, I want you to imagine bright light. So I want you to breathe from the soles of your feet, and I want you to breathe in And I want you to imagine as you're breathing in, it's like a sunrise happening, and the sunrise starts coming up over the horizon, and the light comes over your feet into your legs as you breathe in. Let's breathe in and just sense the sunlight coming over you. Breathe in all the way right up to you and breathe out. Keep the sunlight there. Breathe into the light, breathe out into the light. Now breathe in the light and the light gets brighter. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Remember in Genesis, when God in the first 6 days created, he said, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's very good. Now I want you to breathe in 6 times. The light gets brighter every time, and as you breathe out, you say, it's good. And you're going to say it's good 5 times, and then say very good on the 6th time. Okay, let's breathe in. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, go, good. Feel what good feels like. Breathe in. Good. Breathe in. Good. Breathe in. Good. It's getting brighter and brighter. Breathe in. Good. That was number 5. Breathe in. Smile broadly, look into the sunlight, which is now about a 45-degree angle. Look directly into the sun, see a big smile. And as you breathe out, say, very good. Focus on the light. You're enveloped totally in light. I want you to focus on 2 things that you are thankful for right now. And focus on them clearly. It can be anything. What are 2 things you're thankful for? And say them to yourself. I'm thankful for the fact that I can breathe and I'm alive. Breathe in and out. And feel that feeling. And I'm thankful that there is provision made available in my life. Breathe in and breathe out. And just look back into the sunlight, and there's a broad smile, and it's very good. Breathe in and out. So the first thing is light. Second thing is 3 things or 2 things that I'm thankful for. Now I pay attention to what is my day going to be like, and 4 things of how I'm going to create my day. So it's nighttime, so we'll do it the night meditation. What 4 things that I learned from today based on the 4 things that I created today. So I was going to be conscious in meetings, and yes, I was very conscious, and wonderful outcomes came because of that consciousness. Breathe in and out. And out. Second thing, when I met with people, I gave them my full attention. I was fully conscious, fully aware. Third thing, when I met people, whether online, on telephone, or in person, even behind a mask, I added value. And I did breathe in because they told me, and breathe out. And the 4th thing that I learned about today was I will come home and make a fire and be together with Estelle in my home, and we will enjoy just being together. And that happens, and breathe out. Just let it be. You're in the light. Allow the light to get brighter and brighter. Now I want you to think about 1 person you need to forgive. It can be yourself, or it can be someone else. Just focus on that person. Comes up immediately. Breathe in. And let the light, as you breathe out through this light gives as well. I want you to give the person forgiveness. So you mention the person's name for whatever they did and go, I forgive you. Totally, fully, I let go. And feel what it feels like to be the agent of forgiveness. And then breathe in. And then what was my part in holding back, in not forgiving? And forgive yourself. And say, I forgive myself. Let go. So going back to the day meditation, after I've forgiven, I've created my day, I now come to an area where I go, so what am I going to be grateful for today? And I focus on two things that I'm going to be grateful for. And grateful is for things that have happened that have not yet manifested. I'm grateful for my business that's upscaling. I can see it very clearly. I know the numbers and I see it and I'm grateful for it. And I bring gratefulness from the picture into the future, into my present by breathing in and breathing out. And just feel what it feels to be grateful. Breathe in. Second thing I'm grateful for from the future that hasn't happened in manifestation, but it's already happened in the future for my brain. What's that? And breathe out. And now the sunrise is about 60 degrees. I'm lifting my head a little bit and looking brightly into the sun of the sunlight. I'm totally engulfed in sunlight, white, beautiful, warm. I see a big, broad smile in the sun, and I smile back, and I'll say, it's very good. And I end off, before I get out of bed, by saying, good morning, I love you back. And just relax into that. Feel it from the top of your head, tips of your ears, points of your shoulders, into your body, down to the soles of your feet. And breathe in and breathe out. Slowly open your eyes and become aware. So, how was that? Thanks, Quibus.
Thank you, Dr. Bill. I appreciate that. Is there anyone that has questions? And then we're going to close off tonight. Any questions that you would love to ask Dr. Bill? I'm just going to go through and see if I see any questions. Sonia just asks, so sugar slows down thinking and speed and gives you brain fog?
Yeah, so sugar slows down the speed between the jump of the electrons that are taking place, or the electricity, or the neuron electricity that's taking place. It just slows it down somewhat. It can slow it down to about 20% in the jump. So you've got nanoseconds that are happening, and they can measure when people have had lots of carbonated drinks. So stay away from carbonated drink and anything that's got sugar. Stick with honey.
Yes, stick with honey and?
Yeah, stick with honey. And then there is, if you want to use artificial sweetener, stevia, use stevia. It is the best for the body, stevia. You get that at a discount. You'll always know because it's the most expensive.
Then another question, another saying, it says, Dr. Bill, you are definitely blurry Oleg. And then Chart says, we do learn so much from this master. Yes, I totally agree with you, Chart. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Bill. Chart says, we'll practice it. Michelle said, this was really incredible. Thank you so much. Sonia says, okay, yeah, we answered that one. Donnie says, wow, that was relaxing. Thank you, Dr. Bill. I appreciate your input. You are a true inspiration. Chart says, so it's not that you think affirmations do not work. It is the way it is done, and it must align with values, and it must be specific, etc.
You got it.
Okay. And then Sonia asks you, stevia.
It must be real to you. It must be. You must be able to feel it. So the same energy that creates that chaotic feeling of, oh my, everything is now demakar. You need to change that, and you must feel the feeling of I'm at peace, I'm at centered, and you only get that way through meditation and breathing. You don't get it through cognitive thinking. You don't think yourself right. You think and feel yourself right.
Great. And Sonia asks, what is stevia and xylitol different?
Xylitol has got a whole lot of gemorsgoedjies in it that impact on the liver and the kidneys and also on the spleen and your pancreas. So try and stay away from xylitol, rather go for stevia or for honey. And instead of drinking cold drinks, get yourself rooibos tea or green tea, put honey in it. I was coaching a medical doctor who 6 people in his team had COVID, had the virus, and they created a concoction that came from Malaysia, and they grated a quarter pineapple, put it in a teapot, a half a lemon, they grated that, put in a teapot, a small piece of garlic, they put that in there. They took a small piece of ginger, grated it, put it in there, and they boiled it up. And while it was boiling, they leaned over and breathed in that steam. And it cleans, so COVID can't live in hot steam. So they breathed that in, and then they let it cool down. They added a little bit of stevia or a little bit of honey within it to make it palatable for the taste. And his entire team of 7 that had the virus broke a record where other people would take 12 to 14 days. They took 6 to 8 days just by drinking that little concoction. There's amazing stuff that your immune system needs that's natural, that can restore and even fight what is now known as the worst virus on the planet, and natural stuff is taking its way. So make sure magnesium, vitamin D3, omega-3, and vitamin C, drink lots of that. And if you can't get melatonin from your doctor, it's only a prescribed medicine, but it's something that is needed both day and night. You don't tend to drink it at night. If you drink melatonin, you must be able to be drinking about 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams in the day, during the day before you sleep. If you can't get melatonin, then go to Dischem and get GABA, G-A-B-B-A. It's a white powder. And val vir hom weg. Gooi hom in 'n glas en sê, laat hy val waar hy wil. And drink a lot of that to bring calmness and centeredness. And then, of course, the probiotic and the fulvic acid, which is exceptional for brain and gut centeredness and calmness.
Awesome. Chart, I agree with you, Chart. You see it, you visualize it, and you feel it. Chart is like that saying that says, forwards that it becomes emotionalized. You feel it. You have to feel it to become a reality. So that's powerful. Sonia says, wow, thank you. Michelle says, how does weed, cannabis, and herbs afflict my thinking after not smoking it for a while? Does it have long-term effects?
Very interesting. Years ago, I was the first person that went around in the 1980s to go to schools to tell them that weed was terrible. Cannabis sativa contains tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the bad. But now what they've done with weed, and they've turned it into oil. So actually, nou vir my skoonma dagga olie, where I used to preach against it. Nou sê ek, "Rasyp my ma, of kom ons vryf dit in en vat so 'n druppeltjie onder die tong en sien groen en dink blou." And she's 86 and she's very happy when that happens. Ag my kind, ek is mal oor jou, ek is lief vir jou, jy's die beste skoonseun. And so I get all excited about that. So the latest studies is that neuroscience is actually spearheading this, that they're actually using psychedelic drugs like mushroom, and they're using psychedelic drugs like dagga, but not with the tetrahydrocannabinol in it. They remove that out of it. But the mushrooms, they're still using it, and they're saying it adds value to people's lives. So, yeah, if you stop smoking if you smoke for about 10 years and you stop smoking, it'll take double that amount of time for your lungs to kind of restore. that's normal. So it takes double the time to restore. And I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but the long-term effects depends on how long you smoked it, but it's no longer that harmful.
And then Alan says, we drink turmeric, ginger, honey, lemon juice, and apple cider, and cayenne pepper every day and all in the morning. Yes. And then Donnie says, Dr. Bill, that is your take on using Rafa as a probiotic.
I haven't read too much up on it, so I haven't read up on the process. I've heard about it. So I can't comment. I don't know all the facts. I just know pieces here and there, and I don't want to comment on what I'm not comfortable with in sharing, because I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, so I don't want to make up stuff.
And then Chad says, what about ibogaine? Ibogaine. What about ibogaine? Chart het gevra. Chart says, and what about ibogaine? Yes.
Chart, just give me another name for that if you can. It doesn't ring a bell for me. My brain is tracked on what I was presenting tonight, so it's like I'm feeling this interruption coming in. I'm going, gosh, yeah, is there another name for it?
How long must the meditation session last?
It must last for as long as the signal is that when you finish the meditation, you must be able to center yourself on the 5, good, very good, and you must be able to feel it all the way through. And when you open your eyes slowly, you must feel as if it's difficult to open your eyes, as if your body is saying, don't come back into reality, please. Bly net waar jy is. Then you know you've done a damn good job on meditation. So as long as that takes. But you don't have to have hours and hours and hours of meditation. I went to France and I meditated with some of the monks at Tazay, and there they meditate 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day at 2 hours a shot. And I go for you see, it's something to get into, but I don't ever meditate that long.
Yeah, I meditate about 20 minutes a day, and sometimes morning and evening 20 minutes. But, I found that that is, and I used to start with only a minute, and I built it up to 10 minutes. But I found like more than 20 minutes it's too much for me. 20 minutes was my exactly what my body needs and what my mind needs, and because I only not meditate, I journal, I do my affirmations, my gratitude, and all of that. So that takes me in about an hour a day, and that is how I see my meditation.
Yeah. So writing cognitively is also part of meditation. And another morning meditation, you could go, good morning, body. Tell me, what do you need today? And just take a moment and breathe into that. And you'll hear your body tell you what you need. And say, good morning, soul. What do you need today? Good morning, emotions. What do you need today? Good morning, mind. What do you need today? Good morning, spirit. What do you need today? And you'll be surprised the answers that you get. So, very, very interesting. Yes, it's mushrooms. That's correct.
Right. And do you do that pulling of muscles into the spine with 6 breaths?
Yes, I do. Yeah, you must pull the muscle in towards the spine as you're breathing, all the way up, and you must. Because that is energizing the nerve center. You're centering it in there, and you trek hy spiere om die hart en daaronder.
Sorry about that, Dr. Bill. So that is all the questions. I just want to say thank you for tonight again. I'm looking forward to your talk tomorrow evening as well. And everyone please remember not. Luckily, you're the last speaker of the evenings, Dr. Bill, so you can go actually a little bit over time, like tonight. So what I suggest people do, if they have a lot of questions and stuff they want to ask, Doc, we can have a little bit longer Q&A tomorrow after the session. So if anyone wants to open their mic or video, let's make that happen. Then from my side, Dr. Bill, thank you. Sonia says also, Bill, so much to learn from you. I totally agree, Sonia. I think Dr. Bill needs to be heard more and be seen more. Krupa says, love your humor, Dr. Bill. Thank you, Krupa. I love yours as well. Chad says, thank you, Doc. Much appreciated. So, Doctor, thank you. I think your presentation's from the heart, and it's great to see you sharing your knowledge. Any last words, and then I'm going to end.
Lekker slaap, julle. Lekker slaap.
Good. From the lekker slaap means sweet dreams, and see you in dreamland. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to close.